Greetings and salutations, dear viewers. I am Eric Muss-Barnes, and I want to welcome you to the inaugural essay of my first official vlog, an endeavor I have entitled InkShard. The purpose of InkShard is mainly for me to talk about my writing, books, upcoming books, motives behind things I've written, book shows, book signings, giveaways, that kind of thing. InkShard exists as a venue, forum, platform for writing about writing. And while the purpose of InkShard may be to write about writing, the purpose of this video is to let folks know this is where the vlog begins. See, too often people start vlogs and just jump into talking without any introduction, and that seems rather rude. Consequently, the viewer is left wondering, where's their first video? Is this it? Was that the oldest date? But what if their archives are incorrect? Are there any more before this? I would rather save you the trouble of such confusion, so I will do you the courtesy of letting you know this is the first. Truthfully, I've been needing to create this vlog for a long time. I first dreamed of being a novelist in the summer of 1984, and I've been writing ever since. That's right, kids, I've been at this for nearly 30 years. So, although you have never heard of me, and InkShard is just beginning, it's not like this is a type of endeavor that's brand new to me. I mean, more than a decade ago, I was constantly posting blogs on MySpace. And people often seemed to enjoy what I wrote, and I appreciated that. But for me, the more people enjoyed my blogs, the more it reminded me that it was not the type of writing I wanted to be doing. Writing pithy little rants and social commentaries seemed like a waste of time. Yes, I mean, it was gratifying to know people related to it, but such blogs weren't the sort of thing I truly yearned to compose. Novels, that is where I belong. Well, allow me to rephrase. Novels, that is where I want to be. Perhaps I don't belong there at all. Fate, destiny, and time will tell. So having penned and published my first duology, I now feel worthy of the novelist label. And as a novelist, I find writing a blog an odd exercise. We're all conditioned within our culture to be writers in many different forms. Everyone writes papers for school. Some of us may keep a journal or a diary. Those who are lucky in love get to write love letters. The mentality behind all those types of writing is obviously very different. The tone and attitude with which we approach such authoring varies greatly. For some of us, we go a bit further and compose books of fiction and nonfiction. Perhaps we become journalists and write for magazines or newspapers. The styles of writing for these things also requires a different mentality, a different outlook. Alternate rules apply. For example, you make up everything in a fictional science fiction novel, but you're not allowed to make up anything when you're a journalist. Both novelists and journalists are writers, but they have different precepts. But what of blogging? What kind of writing is that? What style does a blog demand? Less personal than diaries and love letters, but more personal than books or journalism. I'm not sure what constitutes the proper tone of blogging. Goodness knows, most bloggers have no idea either. Within the world of highly successful blogging, there seems to be a trend for these authors to fancy themselves as journalists. Sad and pathetic when their posts are rife with spelling errors and grammatical mistakes, yet they believe themselves to be Pulitzer contenders. Use spell check, you nimrods. But forgive me, I digressed into the beginnings of ranting again. Permit me to cease my ramblings now before I wander too far off track. My point is, although I have a great deal of experience with blogging, I want to do it differently this time. This shan't be a free-for-all to share my every thought. I have a clearer vision in InkShard. As to the name, simple. I thought it sounded cool. I was considering InkShard as the name of a fiction anthology I wanted to publish. I dreamily contemplated that project for about 15 minutes one morning, laying in bed, before I realized I'd likely never release such a book. I'm not interested in wading through submissions and editing the work of others. Nevertheless, I still loved the sound of InkShard and the image evoked by the name. Kind of conjures visions of a quill made of obsidian. Once I looked up InkShard on the internet and found no one else was using it anywhere for anything, I decided it was a great name. Evocative, memorable, simplistic. Although the logo was originally supposed to be InkShard in all capital letters. But I frightfully realized people might read it as InkShard. So I changed the lettering and increased the size of the I and the S in order to make InkShard more obvious. Thus, InkShard became InkShard. So there you have it. Now you know the motive of this weblog and to what ends I aspire to use it. Thank you for watching my very first essay and my very first official vlog. I've been telling my story for a long time now, and I humbly hope you find this new format entertaining. Thus begins a new chapter. Welcome to InkShard.